Good evening, folks. It is time for the biannual explanation of the worst space weather tool in history. The Magnetosphere Model you can find on NASA's iSWA shows crazy things: super shockwaves, backside pressure, reversals of the field, all of which would likely mean the end of civilization, certainly no more spacecraft left to monitor anything, let alone the internet to view it. The newer models don't really have these problems, and that is for one reason only: extra coding. These extra codes handle cosmic ray hits, data dropouts, and other garbage data inputs. But what do I mean by that? As with all things on iSWA, you can hover your cursor over to learn more. In this case, you learn that indeed, nothing monitors the Earth's entire field. That is impossible, much to my disappointment. But instead, this is only based on solar wind data. The problem is that they developed the model under an idealized data stream state, meaning that if there are no data dropouts, cosmic ray hits, or other glitches, it works all right. Unfortunately, since the satellite must uplink to ground stations on an ever-turning Earth, we do get data dropouts. Cosmic rays have been messing with the data for years, and that's pretty much a given in space, not to mention that the satellite is now 22 years old and has not been without a glitch or two in its day. Every single magnetic model ever put on the net, including Nicked from Japan, showed these errors. They just decided to take it down when the program ended. Here in the States, grant funding dictates they must be kept online, which is why you can find the primary core signet in the retired section of the program. They do still let you access it. That would be the grant funding. Since we know how that model gets made from solar wind, let's first discuss backside pressure. Some videos you see online attempt to suggest that something is pushing from behind, like a second solar wind, and that it blows back our magnetic field every so often. Well, the ACE satellite does not have a detector pointing away from the sun. Its detector points forward. Nibiru, Thor, and Jesus could all be firing protons at the satellite from 10 meters behind, and it would have no freaking clue it was happening. So why does the model show the backside pressure? Well, unfortunately, one of the failures of the retired model is that it reads certain data glitches at negative 999 for density and plasma speed. This is of course not a real reading, but a default during the error. It tells the model that the solar wind is blasting hard from behind. Of course, even if that were possible, the ACE satellite has no way to detect it. The negative numbers are what fool the model, and again, I do wish something could monitor the entire field, but we don't have that yet. Even these new models use that solar wind data and are not actual field monitoring products, and again, if such a thing as a backside major pressure wave actually happened, we would likely be dead, definitely not on the internet. Next, I'd like to mention the cosmic ray hits because those do end up looking like something real: super fast and dense CMEs. Even though it is just one cosmic ray hitting, if it's a carbon nuclei, it's got 6 protons. Oxygen has 8. Well, what if it's an iron nuclei or a uranium nuclei? This is more difficult because you need to go check and see if it was a real solar wind event or a straight short spike indicating cosmic ray hit or similar error. Well, the best way to do that is not to go searching for whatever video online is saying the scariest thing. Check the data yourself. That's one of the reasons we made spaceweathernews.com, so you can be empowered, especially during this time when the magnetic field is reversing and the topic is ripe for misinformation. By the way, top right, click to learn more about all of the things we're about to show you. Just quickly, first I'd imagine you would see a major solar flare or CME on the SDO rotating videos or the X-ray charts below them, but there is the actual solar wind data used to make the magnetic models right there. The black one is all that has ever been used to make any of those magnetic models. Not a thing more. You can look to the magnetometer to see if it picked it up. You can look to the KP index to see if there's any effect on the global field. If it was a real impact, the protons would probably be rising and the electron flux would show it too. Again, top right, you can learn way more about all of this stuff. You can basically become an expert in about an hour. And try to remember, when I do these debunking videos, cosmology, climate change, solar forcing of electroquakes, almost everything I do is anti-mainstream. And something like this, a magnetic reversal, a backside pressure wave, would be really huge for my channel. Why not take advantage? I've only been saying the field is collapsing for 8 years. Well, because I know the facts. I owe you more than that. And little bits of key information like you got here, if missed, snowball into massive impacts on the credibility of the entire community. I'll see you in the morning. Be safe, everyone.